Welcome back to Valley Boys TCG. I'm CK, and it's been a bit since I've been on the channel. I've had some personal things going on. I've just been so busy. This video should have come out a long time ago with the other Mamemon video, so I'm finally getting around to it because it is such a great game between me and my friend Daniel here. So we have the Royal Knights against PrinceMamemon. Royalty against royalty. So Mamemon's going to go first here, and we see Chicory go into the Thunder and Raising and pass the memory to 2. And we see on the other side we have the Magnamon come down, and then a Purge of the Royal Knights option card comes into play to really get things rolling. Yeah, it's a very interesting matchup here. We go into the big Mamemon to have a nice big body here, and then for some reason I decided to just go ahead and swing at security, get an early chip damage in. Probably not the best idea because that security is stacked, right? It's essentially a new version of Mega Zoo. It's going to be a bunch of big bodies in there, so of course Big Mama doesn't survive, but I think it made the most sense at the time, and we just dropped the Nanimon. Now King Drazel's going to absorb Royal Knight on board, and then he just uses the option to bring Magna back out and then drop a Ganku, which will pull out, I think that's Kentoris, I can't see from. So he's got some blocker presence on board, so we're just going to slowly build up. I think that's the best play here. So we drop a Chumon, and then we drop the Chicory that doesn't allow him to reduce play cost. So that's a nice clutch card in this matchup, and I think that is the key card for this matchup, is to have that Chicory out to not allow him to reduce play cost, but that's fine to him because he gives us 10 memory and blows it up immediately, which is the smart play there. It is a menace to this deck, so we got to find a way to get that card back online. And so here is the play now. We drop the Nanimon and then go into the Decoy Mamemon, which then gives us the option, and looks like we're just cycling for card draw here. We go into our hybrid there, and then we do have another Chicory in hand, so this is the right play, I believe. I think the Evo was so that we could get it to the point where we could drop that Chicory, choke them to 1, and they not be able to do much here because the Chicory is going to stop them from reducing play cost, and the Decoy Mamemon is going to prevent this deletion, so that Jessamon isn't able to get to Chicory because we just use a decoy effect and get to keep him on board. And now the game plan is keep Chicory alive. This is our high value target. We got to keep him going, so we get another Decoy Mamemon on board, and then we just drop, since they gave us a full 10 memory, we drop the Tamer Search Mamemon. We see things that we like, but we don't see a Tamer, so I think the smart play there is to put it at the bottom and then Evo here, which will let us cycle. We see another Mamemon that we can play, another Tamer Search Mamemon, trashing the Metal Mame, and this Tamer Search does hit this time, and so we get pluses off of this. So even though the first one didn't hit, I think putting it to the bottom made it work so that we could get the second one out, luckily, which then plays the Izzy, which then lets us stack the PrinceMamemon to the top of the stack. And we should have the inherited effect here to give something blocker. I think that newly played Mamemon was probably given blocker, but we didn't put note of it. So now he's got a tough situation where he is stuck with a board that can't do much. He drops another Magnamon, and we get into PrinceMamemon, which will then let us play out another Mamemon. And since we have 2 BT13 Mame inherited, we're going to give 2 things blocker, which will go to the Catch Mame and the Prince Mame. But now we have our basic, we have our board state set up to win the game. We have our win con on board. We have our jamming reboot Mamemon board. We have a decoy to protect the Chicory, and then we have Chicory to completely lock down Royal Knights. So we'll swing. Bancho gets 2 checks and he blocks with that one, and then we swing Prince for 1, we swing the decoy for 1, and then the next thing we need to do is to choke him to 1 since he does not have the memory tamer out. So luckily we do have a black memory boost we can play. That'll let us pick up another Bancho so that next turn we can have another Bancho on board and all the checks. So we're basically threatening lethal already. All he can do is Drop the Omegamon. No effect. So here we go, just to end the game. We swing in with the Bancho, get the 2 checks, and Prince calls it a day. So that is a very, very wide board setup we have in order to get our win con on board. But for this matchup, Royal Knights doesn't need a check-in early. Royal Knights has that deadly, big lethal turn where they flood the board and end it. So having that Chicory and the decoy Mamemon is key and vital in this matchup. As you'll see, this next round, we don't really have much. We have the Chicory and Raising. We drop the Izzy, and he learns from the first match. He drops that Marcus early to get that Memory Tamer on board. So we promote. Probably shouldn't have promoted. We get into Marcus, and we do get into the Mamemon, which will let us play another Tamer, and we see the Izzy on the search. So now we can use these to place on top, and we're not really seeing the level 6 that we want, but we may have one in hand already, so we do put it back on the top. Izzy, we know that the top 3 are going to be black, so we just leave it as is. We gain the memory, but it doesn't keep turn, and Marcus is a memory setter, so he does go up to 3 anyway. If it weren't for that Marcus, we would have been able to choke him at 1 and have a good standing right here, but he just drops the Gallantmon there to just blow up the board. We have the Mamemon, Pagu effect, does give us a Nanimon, and we have turn. We're going to have to build again in Raising, but I do not believe that we have a rookie at this point, which is a big problem. So we just are forced to drop the Nanimon, and then I think we just Evo into a big Mamemon. Yep, we Evo up into the big Mamemon. I really like this build in Mamemon, but currently I've been revamping it to an interesting control variant that I'm going to be trying. So the big Mamemons have been removed, but I still enjoyed this version. This version of the build I think was a little more aggro. You see him drop the O-Force and clear my board again. So it's not looking good for Mamemon. He doesn't have to check my security because, again, he's just building for that end game turn, and I am definitely whiffing on key pieces where I just have to drop the catch Mamemon here and put him at the 3 he would get. But it's very dangerous because he can just play something out to pop it and basically constantly be removing, and if I can't play more than 1 Mon per turn, it's gonna just be biding time till he can build up for that Omnimon turn. And here we see, I think it's the, is that the Dynus? And then he drops the Omegamon there to help him, although I don't think he had anything to tuck with the effect. So we get to go into Bancho, and Bancho can potentially play out 2 Mons, and we completely whiff. This would have been a great situation to get 2 Mons on board. Looks like we do find the Chicory in hand. I'm not sure why we haven't Evo'd and Raising or dropped it. And then we go into pop that Marcus with the Zwart Defeat. This is why we have Zwart Defeat in the deck, to deal with certain tamers. Goes ahead and swings into and hits the PrinceMamemon in security. Now it looks like, yep, here's the big Omnimon turn. So even if we had hard dropped that Chicory, we needed it in Raising the turn before to have it out. So yep, you can see there's really not much, and yep, all the effects basically wiping board here. There's not much. I can't digivolve anything, and even with the Tamer, yep, that is game 2. So he completely wiped me with the big Omnimon play. I could not set up in time to prevent it. So here we go to game 3, and I have him go first because Royal Knights prefers to go second because of how pricey their plays are. They want that extra draw and that extra memory to start off with. And so we do not look good, and we're forced to start our turn with an Izzy. But we have some good stuff on board at the top. And so we Senbon Dokkan. And here's where I kind of make a realization a little late. Senbon Dokkan lets me play Mamemon, PrinceMamemon, because that's to be play cost of 15. PrinceMamemon's effect is when digivolving and on play. and I missed that in this game. The on play should trigger here, so he should be able to search the top 3 and play another Mamemon, which is something I realized way too late, or it just completely slipped my mind in this game. But that's what makes PrinceMamemon so good and probably better than BanchoMamemon in the deck, and is forcing me to rethink my strategy on the build, because I currently at this point am running a 3-3 split between Prince and Bancho. But after realizing that PrinceMamemon's effect to play out a Digimon or to play out a Mamemon is not just when digivolving but also on play, makes me realize that Senbon Dokkan is so much more powerful with the PrinceMamemon. So here he bounced it back to hand, as you saw, and we're forced just to play a catch Mamemon to give us something on board. And he brings out the Gallant, which I guess doesn't have enough to pop the catch Mamemon yet. And then he plays out the Craniumon to get the big boy blocker out. So we go into our Prince, and this time we're able to get the Searcher Mamemon, the Tamer Searcher Mamemon out. And it looks like we whiff, but we can stack the top of the... We can stack the top if we want to. I think that's the play here. We're just trying to find the right order to draw into the pieces we need. Yeah, we're constantly cycling here. We're trying to count card draws, and there is a little thought to this Mamemon, and this Mamemon deck is how to play it out. And so here, and that's where I realized I messed up. I put the wrong Mamemon in the wrong spot. I wanted Bancho on top and the other one second, and I put it in the wrong order. So, and then we realized that one wasn't supposed to swing. I had tapped the wrong one, but we did kill the correct one this time. So definitely a mistake there. And so that's not looking good for us. We spent all that time thinking of the order, and then we moved at the last second. We moved one extra card up instead of down, and that threw things off. And so here he O-forces, bounces me back to hand, and now we're in a bad situation because we are board cleared. So we are forced to just try to build again in Raising. So we get to Thundermon. We have to hope that he doesn't already have the Omnimon in hand. If he does, it's GG's. If not, maybe we can do something. So we drop the Nanimon. He gets everything to go back under Drazel. He swings in the Omeka, and it survives. And then he drops a Sistermon here, get his search on. And here I believe that's the Dynasmon, new Dynasmon. So now we gotta build up here. We are at risk. And so we get our decoy out, and then we get our chicory out. So we are now online to shut them down. We're still kind of down. They've been chipping at us. Royal Knights has been chipping, so Buddy down here has got some advantage. So we got to hope to survive. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, Omnimon's a 14 cost. So as long as we keep him under 4, we should be okay. And so we see the Purge get played out. Lets him put another card underneath. And now he's forced to drop a 10 cost and give us enough memory to try to get the clap back going. So we get a Chumon and Raising, and now we got to build something up, but we can't sacrifice that Chicory or the Mamemon yet. So we've got to build around them to keep those on board to stop them from doing something. So we get the Catch Mamemon out, which is clutch here, because now it lets us stack the top of our deck with Mamemons. So we see what Mamemons we want to play out, what we want to draw into. So we should be putting Bancho on top, followed by 3 other Mamemons. Alright, so here we need to evo with what we have in hand. So So we'll go ahead and I believe this should be the PrinceMamemon. Yep. Prince will let us draw, which will let us search. And we can play out the Searcher Mamemon to see if we get another tamer here. And we do. Get the Matentai out. And then since we drew into the Boncho, let's go ahead and go into the Boncho now, which will let us search, and now we can drop another. And looks like we decided to go into the Thunder Mamemon. Oh yeah, that's the right play because we don't have another. Thunder will let us evo into a level 5, choking them to 1. And we put the blocker on the Thundermon right now. And I'm not sure why we're not. We should be swinging here. We can swing Prince, and we can swing. So Prince swings 1. We have jamming. All Mamemons now have jamming. And then we go ahead and go into this Metal Mamemon, which will then let us grab back the Sword Defeat there, which is going to be kind of cheeky because if he tries to set up. So now he's choked at 1, and he cannot play anything with a reduced cost, and Chicory's protected. So all of a sudden, we went from looking bad to in a very, very good spot. He brings out the Gallant, which is fine. We go ahead and use, or we decoy effect go in. He checks 1, and then there's not much else he can do here. We do still have a blocker on board if we need it, but we're presenting pretty lethal here because next turn we'll be able to. And then now he clears the Chicory. So we have to end it here. Now he's set up, but we do have enough on board to get it done. So we're with 6 memory. We go ahead and go into another Prince, which lets us play out another Thundermon, which we then can put blocker on to get a blocker on board next turn. And so even though we're cleared security, we should be able to clear here. Boncho 2 checks with jamming. Gets through just fine. Prince, we go ahead and let Chumon go in. And then PrinceMamemon seals the game. Super, super clutch comeback there at the end. Loving Mamemon. Hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay. Join us next time.